Hey guys, this is John with Walkthrough Code. So in the last video we talked about how to render a list and how to iterate over an array and list everything out on the page. So in this video we're going to talk about mainly the difference between VIF and VShow, which are both conditional directives in VueJS. So let's kind of do an easy example of this. We'll get rid of all of this crap, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. So we're going to say, we'll just make a div for some reason, and we'll say v dash if, and then what happens here is that it evaluates some value inside of the data object, or just whether it evaluates to true or false, period. So let's say if 2 is less than 3, which it will be, we'll say hello world, and then we'll save that and show. So we see that hello world. If we put 4 here, nothing will render, to be expected, right? Then we could also say there's also something called v-else, which must be located right before that. So we'll say v-else, and that doesn't take any value. But then if we put that down here, didn't work. So now this is not true, but this is true. So this will show. This comes in super handy if you need like a plan B if something doesn't work or it doesn't evaluate to true. So here, the other thing is we can say VShow. The difference between VIF and VShow. VIF is something that if it's false, it will not even render into the DOM. If it is true, then it will. VShow, regardless of whether it's true or false, will still render into the DOM, but it'll use CSS to say, you know, visibility hidden. So it won't be visible, but it will be on the DOM anyway. Both of those have their upsides and downsides. You know, different costs for different reasons. If it's going to change sometime during like user input or something like that, I would suggest doing VShow. Whereas if it's something that's kind of on initial render, I would suggest doing VIF. So that's pretty much that. There's also a v-else if that you can use starting in 2.1, I think it said. If we say if 2 is less than 3, maybe render that, and then we can say hello world 2. If we save that, it'll render that, or I should say v else if, right? So now that works, right? So if this is not true, then check this. If this is not true, check this. So we can put this 3 is less than 3. And neither of those are true, so it binds that. Really useful. Super, super cool. We can bind it to a value down here as well. We could say some val is true. We could check this and say check my sum val. If we re-render that, it'll show that. So that kind of gives you an idea of how this works. In this video, we talked about VIF versus VShow, and the differences between those. We showed you how to use VIF, v-else if, and v-else. And that pretty much serves this video. I really appreciate you guys watching this. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Other than that, I always appreciate your likes and subscribes. It motivates me to make more awesome videos for you guys. Thank you guys so much again, and have an awesome evening.